Instructions for accessing subtitles in a language other than English are included on our board meetings webpage as well as in the description below. Instrucciones para acceder a los subtítulos en un idioma que no sea el inglés se incluyen en nuestra página web de reuniones de la Junta, así como en la descripción a continuación.
Good evening and welcome to the Ross Valley School District Board of Trustees regular meeting. Today is May 20th. I am calling our meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. We have 4 trustees present here in the Ross Valley School District office at 100 Shaw Drive in San Anselmo. Myself, Rachel Litwack, Daniel Cassidy, Anna Marsh, Chris Lindles-Cobb, and Shelley Hamilton is not present tonight. We also have cabinet members present. We have Superintendent Tyler Graff. We have CBO Chris Carson. We have Assistant Superintendent Julia Walcott. And we have Director of Student Services Lori O'Connor. Our meeting is being live streamed via YouTube, and the link is on our website and the agenda. There will be a 60-second delay between the meeting and the YouTube live stream. A recording of the meeting will be made available to the public on our district YouTube website within 72 hours. I think it's on the playlists tab. And with that, I will move on to our next procedural item, which is B, Pledge of Allegiance and Democratic Reflection. I don't have a reflection. Anyone? No? I got to send nobody else here. So if you would like to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please do. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our next item here is item B2, which is to adopt the agenda and time allocations. Do we have any changes, comments, questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion on it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we adopt the agenda and time allocations.
I will second that.
Thank you both, Daniel.
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Anna? Aye. Rachel? Aye. Okay, so we have an agenda for this evening. Yay. Our next item is C, which is something I think we're all pretty excited about up here, which is the recognition of retirees and reception. The first item here is the recognition ceremony for our retiring district employees.
I guess I'll do this one. Usually it's Julia, but I'll take the reins tonight. Like President Litwack just said, this is one of my favorite board meetings of the year. It's a great opportunity to share some of the experience that our employees have had over the last few years and some of them last few decades. And it's a really great time to celebrate our folks. So we'll start tonight with Pam Cooney. Are you going to say something about Pam, Chris?
I am. Unfortunately, Pam wasn't able to make it this evening, but Pam Cooney has been with the district since June of 2015. The entire time she has been in the business services department as the fiscal services accountant. And she, one of the things that you notice quickly with her is whether she is serving meals at a school site or she's assisting our residents with their parcel tax exemptions. She always does it with a smile, and she's one of the kindest people that you will ever run across. Her expertise in the business services department has been very evident in this last year in particular. She came to the district from a district in Sonoma County and had expertise in the new financial system that we're inputting. So her expertise in that new system has been invaluable to the district. And she's somebody that as she leaves us in June, we're truly going to miss her, but we know that she's going to be doing well in her new endeavor. So thank you to Pam.
And we'll receive this beautiful wordle and plaque tomorrow when she comes in order. Our next retiree, hailing from Wade Thomas's front office, is Marlena. So I think Julie's going to talk about Marlena.
Marlena.
100, Marlena.
It is an honor to speak about someone who means so much to our school community and the Ross Valley School District, Marlena Kenworth. If you ask students, staff, and family to describe her, the same words come up again and again: supportive, thoughtful, patient, kind, respectful, responsible, and simply awesome. But those words only begin to describe what she really does for our school. Marlena has been serving our district since 2005. Over the years, she has worked as a PE teacher at Brookside, at the district office and food service program, and for more than 15 years as the administrative assistant at Wade Thomas. And honestly, she's much more than an administrative assistant. She is the calm strength that holds the school together. No matter how busy the office gets, she always makes time for people, big and small. Students say that when she has 100 things going on, she still stops and talks with them and asks how their day is going and what makes them feel important. If someone is hurt, upset, late, or nervous, or just having a hard day, Marlena is there. One student shared she is supportive when you're down or hurt and helps you talk things through. One teacher called her the pulse of the school, and I think that describes her perfectly. She somehow knows what people need before they even say it, and she can solve almost any problem, from health emergencies to loose teeth, while still making everyone who walks through the office door feel seen and cared for. And on a personal note, I have been lucky enough to be her superhero team partner through so many moments. We have sprinted after TK runners, tackled whatever challenge the day threw at us, and worked side by side to make sure every staff member and family member has what they needed. And along the way, we laughed and shared stories in a quiet moment. And we often talked about writing a book. Look out, we might come through. People who make people feel safe. People who bring calm during stressful moments, people who quietly make everyone feel better, are people like Marlena. And tonight, a very special shout out to her family, Dan, Alec, Brandon, and Logan, for lending us your mom for all these years. We know that when someone gives this much to a school community, it takes support from the home. And we're deeply grateful to you, and we're happy that you get her back. Marlena, on behalf of the
The next up is Peter O'Reilly, White Hill. Okay.
So Peter O'Reilly's, we've had the pleasure of having Peter O'Reilly Whitehill twice, actually. So he's been the Learning Center teacher here at Whitehill for the last couple of years. Going to returning to us from another 2-year stint that he did in 2017 to 2019. He's an incredibly caring and compassionate teacher who really works to support and create a nurturing environment in his classroom to really make sure that every student can really be themselves, feel comfortable in the space, and really kind of flourish and grow. He's always willing to listen and problem solve, and really approaches all challenges with optimism, a calmness, and a steady presence. He builds relationships with students and staff alike, both through humor and through kindness. And he's not only a committed educator, but he also has a very adventurous spirit. He's always out kind of running, hiking. He'll always come on Monday telling you how many steps he walked over the weekend. He genuinely enjoys people and connecting with students, and it's been a pleasure having him at Whitehill for the last number of years.
And we also have Kim Smith, who, if you all remember, Brookside Upper and Lower, worked at Brookside Upper and now at Whitehill.
So Kim has had 22 years in the Ross Valley School. Getting to work with Kim as an aide in my classroom when I was a classroom teacher, right? She's really, I didn't realize that you used to work at Brookside Upper and the number of roles you carried. So similarly, Kim has held a number of roles, but not only instructional aide, but also spent time as an office assistant, as a campus supervisor, as a clerk typist in another era, and as a food service worker as well. So throughout every role that Kim has carried, I know that she's always been someone that staff and students can count on. She just carries, she's one of those people who just kind of always just has like such a graceful presence, always calm. Over the years, you have supported hundreds of students. And some of the students I talked to shared with them, like some of the things that you could always count on Miss Smith for was that she's always incredibly patient. She always explains things in a way that really makes sense. You can always come to her with any questions that you have, and you can really tell that she cares. I know that you've also had that same impact with staff that know that they can rely on you. You've always been an incredible partner with teachers and working with them and how you can work together to help support students. You approach every role that you have with that same kind of level of dedication. I know that your impact has been felt really with multiple students, with staff and across sites, and you're deeply going to be missed at White Hill next year. We've been so incredibly lucky to have you, and I'm glad you get to spend some more time with your grandchildren and with your mother.
Okay, our next honoree, and although this is for Lynn Marion, let's give Lynn a round of applause. Although Lynn's not retiring, we wanted to recognize and celebrate her for the 12 years of service she's given to RVSD. Lynn's been an incredible support to our ed services and human resources departments, for managing large curriculum orders, especially last year with TPay, and unpacking materials to coordinating volunteer fingerprints, and always making beautiful spreads for our PDAs. I know ordering food has been at the top of your favorite things to do. You're always approaching your work with patience, flexibility, care, and a smile on your face. Your kindness and willingness to help both colleagues and members of the public have made you a joy to work with. And you're already greatly missed as we're planning for next year. Thank you, Lynn, and we appreciate everything you've contributed to the district. All right, I saved the best for last, or the longest for last. 37 years of service. And number one on the, maybe that's why I said best, she's number one on the seniority list.
Dan.
It's competitive.
Before I read my little thing here, I just want to read off some of the roles that Julia's had over the years. Started as a White Hill Gate teacher in 1989. Then was at Brookside Upper as a 6th grade teacher, across the district as an exploratorium intern, and then at White Hill as a 6th grade teacher, and then an administrative intern across the district, and then back to White Hill for 6th grade, and then 7th grade teaching math and Inventors Lab and a few other things, and then as a math coordinator here at the district office, a coordinator of curriculum instruction, a director of curriculum instruction, and now the assistant superintendent of ed services. So almost everything except custodian. So after 37 years of service to the Ross Valley School District, Julia will be retiring at the end of the school year. She began her career teaching with us in 6th grade up at Hidden Valley, and then taught math, science, and an array of other subjects at White Hill, where she spent 20 years building lasting collegial relationships, supporting students, and moving the school forward in a positive direction. That foundation of care and rigor eventually carried her to the district office, first as a coach, then a curriculum coordinator, director, and ultimately as her assistant superintendent of ed services, a role she's filled with grace and passion. Throughout her time here at Ross Valley, Julie's been an unwavering advocate for students, whether she was at the front of a classroom deepening mathematical understanding, or at the district office advancing equity work and ensuring her students exceed the highest academic outcomes. She always had her students at the forefront. Her leadership has been defined by compassion, focus, and a relentless belief that every child has the right to an exceptional public education. She has a rare gift that allows her to center students while also understanding what teachers need to succeed. She knows when to push, when to support, and how to pace change in ways that allow people to implement programs with genuine intention rather than mere compliance. That instinct has been a model for me, our principals, and the district as a whole. Julie leads the Ed Services Department in exceptional condition. In the last few years, she's overseen the adoption of a structured literacy program, the full implementation of transitional kindergarten, and an interim assessment system to monitor academic progress, all of which have played integral roles in our schools eliminating the learning loss of the pandemic. Julie has led, learned, and delivered on important tasks until the very end of her tenure here, including some of her favorite tasks, including hiring late into the summer, completing the district's calendar. What we'll miss most of Julia, though, is her moral compass. Anytime the path was unclear, Julia helped us find true north. When the work was hard, she reminded us of why it mattered. When our conversation veered to the needs of adults, she always steered us back to the students. Julia, we wish you joy and adventure in the chapters ahead. We expect to hear reports of long bike rides, adventures in West Marin with khaki, and watching the sunset from the dock in Michigan. After 37 years, you've more than earned the joyful moments that await you in retirement. Thank you for your leadership, your wisdom, your strength, and your intellect. Thank you for keeping the students and families of Ross Valley at the center of every decision you made. This district is a better place for the students because of you. And rest assured that the decisions you've made will have a lasting legacy for years to come. Congrats.
Ross Valley is family. Like, I grew up here. I was 24 when I started here, and I love everybody in this room. I love Ross Valley. My heart is here. My kids have been here. I've met my wife here, and I'm so proud to have been in Ross Valley for 37 years. It's a beautiful place. So, thank you.
Do you want to do like a victory lap or something? All right, well, I just want to say thank you to all the retirees. I say this over and over again, and I'll continue to say it. The Ross Valley School District is a really, really special place to work. And it's not special because of the beautiful facilities or, the families, although the families make it really, really special, and our students. But it's the people that come to work every single day. It's the folks that are retiring today, the folks that are sitting in these seats. This district is what it is because of the people that come here, and I'm super honored to be the superintendent of this district and to be able to celebrate these folks tonight. So let's celebrate with we have some drinks and some cookies and I think some lemon bars over there. Congratulations, everybody.
All right, welcome back. And our next item on the agenda is D, communication. The first item here is one, public comment regarding items not on the open session agenda. Do we have any public comments today? No. Okay, so seeing none, I'll move on to our next item, which is 2, correspondence and communication to the board. When we get emails sent in, those get posted up there, or any other sort of correspondence that's posted. I think we had one item there this time. I think we've all had a chance to review it. And with that, I'll move to our next item, which was announcements by labor unions, CSEA and RVTA. Do we have any announcements tonight? Seeing none, all right, we'll move to item E, presentation and or action items. The first one is E1, special education, a year in review and looking ahead. This is Lori.
Yes, and thank you. Well, I want to say first, it's been such a great year, and one thing I did include in this was we had a new director in the role this year, and I just want to report that it has just been such a great year. Of course, we have our ups and downs, but overall, really great year. And you'll see some of the highlights as well as some of the things that we struggle with ongoing, and then also a lot of work's been done on a strategic plan that will be rolled out here real soon. So, good stuff. All right, so our year in review, some of our highlights are, and you've heard about most of these, but just in review, we had a special education review that Holly Wade put together for us, which gave us really good information about the programs. It was great for me to be a part of that, coming in as a new director, to see all of everything going on and also glean my own insights as well. We continued on with our special education advisory committee that was started last spring, or 2025 spring, and it was a really successful committee, a huge engagement of people. We also we came together and we actually created an inclusion statement, and we got student input, and the winner is seen, heard, valued. So that is our inclusion statement for the district. And we will be having a student art contest around that and some other things to get the word out on that.
Did you say seen,
Seen,
heard, valued?
Seen, period, heard. And then we also participated in the community of practice through the Marin County Office of Education, our local SELPA, and El Dorado County Office of Education. And we had early childhood specialists come in, and we did some walkthroughs in TK, and we had a whole series of the TK teachers putting together targeted goals, and there was support for them, which was really great. And then we have also been a part of the Inclusion Academy, which we have about 9 teachers involved. Those are special education teachers as well as general education, and that was offered through Marin County Office of Education as well. And it's a focus on universal design for learning, which actually allows for greater more tools in the classroom to be able to really support kids really well on the tier 1 level. And actually, we just got invited to do year 2 for next year, which is really exciting. And we have a couple more teachers that want to join in because they've heard about the good work and they've seen some of the results of their colleagues, which is exciting. We also had 9 teachers who applied for dedication to special education grants, and we had over $10,000 in grant awards to with different materials and different chairs. Like, you all got to sit in chairs recently, so lots of extra things in the classroom to support kids. You also heard about Neurodiversity Week, the week of March 18th. Week of March 16th, and we are moving forward in a major way on that. Next year, all sites will be doing something for Neurodiversity Week, as well as our Special Education Advisory Committee. The strategic plan has been a big project to put together a 3-year strategic plan for the department, and being really specific about the goals as well as the actual tasks that we're going to be doing, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then our compliance has been outstanding. We had our CDE compliance review where they picked 20 random IEPs, and we had no non-compliance. So all of those IEPs looked great. So our team is outstanding. Not only are they on the next line now, not only are they build strong relationships with families and among the team, highly collaborative, and they also have that level of compliance that we need to keep keep everything righted. And I have to speak very highly of our whole team. We have a team that whenever I talk about my work with other people, I tell them that this is like the most forward-thinking group that I've ever met, that I've ever worked with, who come to me with problems but also solutions, and who are always thinking of the kids, putting kids first, and that is where I'm at, and I really appreciate that with our team, so I definitely kudos to our team. They're amazing people across the board.
So before you move on, I just want to name that when I did my learning walk at the beginning of last school year, the two big things, special ed was one of the biggest things that came up in the conversations that I had. And within that, two big things came up. One was a proactive approach to improving our programs, and I think the first, 7 bullets here show exactly that. And the other one, which was kind of the overarching concern, was strong relationships between the district office and families, and Lori has done an exceptional job in that. So I just feel like the two big issues in special ed that were named in my learning walks have really been actioned against with Lori. So Lori, I just really appreciate the work you're doing here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. All right, and then of course with our highlights, we also have persistent challenges. We do have, with the California Department of Education, we are disproportionate in one category. In one disability category, there's 13 disability categories a child can be eligible for. The one disproportionality is emotional disability, and the subgroup is white. So we are disproportionate for our white emotional disability. And so right now we have about 23 students in that category, and so we're working, the state has us doing a continuous improvement and monitoring plan, which we put together a plan to be able to remedy that, and really looking at our systems and also support teachers too. The whole plan is around supporting our TK and K teachers to provide extra supports in the classroom and to learn new strategies in order to potentially alleviate having to have students enter into special education in the first place. And so we're definitely looking at that. And special education is forever been underfunded by the state. So that's definitely a persistent challenge. And we struggle with that because we have to delve into the general fund because we don't get enough funding from, yes.
Just a question on the first bullet.
Yes.
Does that create a vulnerability to lawsuits without having those services for that population?
Well, we have the services, we absolutely do, and we serve all the kids. It's just a matter of getting to the root of why there's that many students who are in that disability category, and just looking at our processes and seeing if there's a different disability area that might be more appropriate, or if there's something we can do ahead of time before more intervention type work.
So essentially the state is saying, whoa,
Yeah.
why do you have so many kids under emotional disability that's disproportionate to what we would see in a normal setting?
Okay.
So then we work with the state to kind of look at our systems and structures and see if there's things that we can put in place to prevent that from happening, or if we need to, look at the way we're identifying students and just kind of do a systems analysis to make sure that we don't have way too many students. A lot of that came out of, there was a lot of disproportionality around bilingual students in special education, and there's a lot of conversation around, is the student's academic success challenged by a second language, or is it by a special education need? And some people were over-identifying Latino students in particular for special education as a way to get them more support. But that's kind of how the whole thing came out.
All right, and then along the lines of the funding too, we have this in Chris's world, there is a maintenance of effort where it basically means that the school district has to continue providing consistent funding for special education. And so and Chris, you can jump in here too, but I just for simplicity's sake, it's like if we spend $7 million in special education, we have to match that the following year. So if our budget continues to go up, which it has been, we have to keep that maintenance of effort and continue spending that amount, which then impacts us because the federal funding is not enough, and then we have to delve into the general fund. Is that a simple nutshell? Okay.
There's only one other caveat. You can also meet it on a per student basis, so the same dollar amount per special ed student.
Mm-hmm.
So if your number of special ed students are decreasing, so too can your total dollars, as long as the amount per student is the same or more.
And you can spend less per student or overall if you have a rationale for why that's the case. So maybe you you have better tier 2 intervention programs, so fewer kids are qualifying for special ed, or you had a big group of 8th graders that matriculated to 9th grade, that could reduce your funding, and Chris would have to write up and say to the state, we have less funding we're spending less per student because of XYZ issue.
And that keeps us from getting dinged by leveling it down the next time we go in if we have an increase.
Yep.
So one of those things a lot of people don't know that.
Does that seem to happen? Is that what's more? It doesn't seem like that's as likely as it increasing. Right?
Yeah.
It's been increasing, yes, and we're trying to work on that too. So, okay, and then the other part of the budget is it's a fluctuating budget. We can have a student enroll tomorrow who needs physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, a one-to-one aid, and a non-public school placement. And tomorrow we could have a $150,000 increase to our special education budget. So it fluctuates, and we don't know. And of course we are. I mean, Tyler always instills in me: run the program, focus on least restrictive environment, and give the kids what they need. And of course, because it's by law we have to, and it's also just ethical to do, right? So, but that is a big challenge about the fluctuating budget, because it is so hard to plan and budget, and we've had these conversations. Chris, Tyler, and I have been having a lot of these conversations about this, and so it makes it really difficult.
It's the beauty of our world, but it's hard to plan for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the challenge.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a moving target. Okay, and then we also, one of our big challenges right now too is we have a high number of students in special education. Our percentages have increased over the years. 3 years ago, we were at about 12.5% of students of our student population who are in special education, who qualified for special education. Following year was about 14%. This year we started at about 16%. And by the end of the year, we might even be up to 18% because of the kids that are currently being assessed. And the state average is around 12 to 13%. Marin County's around 14%. And so we are pretty high. And because of that, we have started putting together some digging in, getting in the weeds, looking at things, because is it that we're over-identifying kids? Because we do have a very robust MTSS process, or multi-tier system of support. We have teachers talking about kids all the time, and nobody's falling through the cracks. Are we over-identifying? Or is it we're keeping kids in special education for too long, and we're not doing a very good job of progress monitoring the kids to be able to exit them out of special education? Or do we just have, in these two towns, is there just a large number of students who need special education services? So we are digging into that right now. Tyler's been a great partner on this because he inspired us to get in the weeds, and it's been great because we've started pulling data around like how many kids in special education achieve proficient or advanced on the CASP testing, and we came up with about 20?
At least, probably 30,
Okay.
40.
30.
Yeah.
Okay, so very interesting. and we need to look into.
We have
30 or 40
Percentage.
total or percentage?
30 or 40
Kids.
individual students who are meeting or exceeding grade level standards and also have an IEP.
What is the percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head.
So, yeah, because it indicates that an IEP may not be necessary, but more of a 504, right?
That's right.
Could be.
That's called least restrictive environment.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
like the idea of I'm just using this as an example. Some students need a one-to-one aid. They absolutely need it. We want them to have the best well-trained one-on-one aid possible to support them. And having an adult next to a kid all day is a very restrictive support. So if the student can function in math without the aid, let's start to bring that aid back a little bit. Now maybe it's just in reading and writing time that they have the aid. And then if the student's progressing with their reading and writing, maybe they don't have an aid at all, but they go to the resource room for 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And just tailoring the supports to what they call the zone of proximal development, where the kid is being challenged, so they're learning, but not have too much scaffolding where they're supportive, they're dependent on whatever the support is. And I think that's a really challenging, we have to get into the weeds to figure out exactly what that right support is for each kid.
I think also the expectations for the parents when you set these things out, to tell them that the ultimate goal is to move away from an IEP.
Yes.
Because that's what we should be doing. Congratulations, you've graduated. It should be seen as a positive thing.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if we talk to the parents up front as we set these things up, it saves a headache for later.
Yeah.
Because the parents are, it's very scary to start getting
Yes.
that IEP process going, right? And then you're like, is my kid ready? Are they going to fall again when you take away the scaffolding?
Yeah.
So that is, I think, really crucial, because if not, it's gonna cost us a lot of money, those parents that don't wanna let go of the scaffolding, right?
And that is definitely happening, yes.
Yeah.
When while we should be celebrating, it turns into something else.
Yeah,
And I was thinking that too, Chris, because even like when if a student needs like a one-to-one aid, like Tyler was just talking about, it's so restrictive, and they need to know up front that one-to-one aid is gonna slowly be faded, and we're gonna do an hour less, 2 hours less, and eventually we're gonna release the responsibility to the student because they need independence.
This is the ultimate goal.
Yes, and so I think that you're right, way more work needs to be done on the front end of that,
yeah.
so that they totally understand.
And we've got iReady and the CASP to measure
Yeah,
appropriately to show what's needed, right?
absolutely.
And I think that's part of what started us getting into the weeds, is that we have a higher than average number of students in special education. But then if you compare our academic outcomes for our students with special needs, it actually is higher than average across the county. So, okay, what's that about? And just making sure that if students need less support, we're giving them less support. And if students need more support, then we're giving them more support. So it's really about tailoring that least restrictive environment for students.
And you said we have about 16 to 17% of students in our entire student population in special ed.
We're nearing 18 right now,
So that's over 200 students.
280 students.
That's a massive number.
Yeah.
And that's where we could get dinged from the state with disproportionality, where they start looking at their numbers and start saying like, wait, you can't just put every kid on an IEP.
And then do we know what those numbers are at Archie? Like do kids, and I don't know if we would, but are they moving out of that at a different rate at Archie, like in the high schools? Or
I don't know their rates exactly, but usually at the high school level kids are, it's lesser because kids have cycled through. We have, like, when we look at our speech numbers too, like we have a lot of kids at White Hill in speech, and usually by the time you're in middle school, things have worked out, and and so we definitely need to look at that too. But I think that would be interesting to know what Archie looks like too.
And this is where it goes case by case, because generalizing high speech numbers in middle school isn't helpful. But if you look at student A and they have it for articulation, you start scratching your head like, wait, if you're still struggling with your S's and T's in middle school and you've been having service for 8 years, like, we need to do something different,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Or
You need tongue surgery.
or if you still have speech services, but it's for pragmatics and social
Right.
dynamic, that might be totally appropriate. So it's really about each individual student making sure, again, I just wanna hammer this home.
Yeah.
It's not about funding, it's about least restrictive
Yeah.
environment.
For sure.
We will spend the money that we need to spend to support students, but we also want kids to be independent so they're prepared to be
Yeah.
citizens and employees when they graduate high school.
Do we track how many people discontinue or graduate every year?
From special
Yeah,
education?
yeah.
We did pull that data recently and
Yeah.
it's a very low number over the last 5 years.
Okay. And does it fluctuate much every year? Or is it
It's
pretty
It's
consistent?
it's pretty consistent, yeah, but that's definitely a data piece we're
Mhm.
looking at too.
Okay.
And then as part of the next step on this, we met with our principals, our cabinet met about this, and then we met with our principals, and Tyler and I are gonna meet with each principal individually and pull their specific site data and look at those kids who are proficient or advanced, look at iReady, look at individual kids like Tyler was saying, and we're gonna have those meetings in the next few weeks. Also look at our one-to-one aid needs, making sure that if the kids don't need a one-to-one aid, they don't have one, or maybe splitting aids, so maybe a student we split one aid across 3 kids because one needs help at lunch, one needs help here, just so that we can really focus on least restrictive environments.
Mhm.
And then because we have a high demand, we're outpacing our capacity. So all of our case managers are either at maximum or exceeding maximum. The resource teachers have a state maximum of 28 for their caseload, and we have RSP teachers or resource teachers that are like at 33 right now. So they're also looking at some compensation for overage because that we don't have that right now, but that impacts everything. We have occupational therapists who are beyond maxed out. We've also had to contract out for some of our assessments because our staff don't have the bandwidth to do that many assessments. And so these are all things that impact, and this is why we're doing this deep dive starting now to sort of figure out how we want to move forward. And then eventually at the beginning of next school year, we're gonna take that data to our individual teams, our speech language pathologist team, and then all the different teams, and then come together too. So I'm sort of mapping out what that's gonna look like so we can all take a look. Everybody's ready for it too, because everybody is like beyond, just the workload is becoming unbearable. And then we also wanna do something before we have to start hiring people because we don't have the funding to be hiring more people. And we need to work within our own capacity. We're also looking at different ways to streamline IEP paperwork. We're looking at ways of making sure that we have sort of a continuum of services, like when a student needs counseling, like we don't just jump to wraparound services from Seneca that is very costly and very intense. So we're trying to maximize our resources and put our heads together across all departments to think of how we can best move forward.
A question on that. I know that a lot of physicians do voice to text dictation, which helps with paperwork.
Mhm.
Is there some type of system where, because there's a lot of paperwork from my understanding,
Yeah.
I just know from the cheap seats.
Yeah.
A lot of filling it out, going into the forms. Is there any type of program that we can have access to that's cost effective, that they can use voice dictation to sort of help streamline this
Yeah.
paperwork?
I think, there's people, as I've been talking to staff, people are using different tools and things like that. We're also, right now, we're piloting a program called Journify, and it's an AI research-based program that we can actually, and it's a closed system. We've done all that work. Sean's helped us, Sean Maher has helped us look into that and make sure everything looks good. But we have a group of 6 special education staff that are piloting it right now.
Okay.
And it basically can take all of these, with one student, you can upload all of the assessments for that student, and it'll actually cite sort of sort through everything and come up with relevant goals that are standards based, that are measurable, that meet all compliance requirements.
That's great.
And so they, our team that's looking at it was like, we had our first meeting last week, and we all did a sample one, and literally these things came out. Of course, there's full teacher discretion, full staff discretion on how they want to, if they want to tweak things or anything like that. But it's very impressive, which that takes so much time. And one of our issues potentially with our high percentage is the fact that we need more progress monitoring to know when a student is ready to exit. So this program also helps us progress monitor more easily and just more effectively. So that could be something coming, and that is extremely cost effective.
Yeah.
It's actually a lesser price than I would have ever imagined. We already got our quote for that, so
Great.
yeah.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
potentially. So, all right. So those are some of our challenges. And then I also have to say, on a day-to-day basis, there's so many other things happening. Like people are putting their everything into it, just doing such a good job. I mean, we also are running IEP meetings every single day, everywhere. I sit in on most of the ones that are a little more contentious. But yeah, there's just so much going on. So much good effort by our team. So I can't overemphasize that because it's so true.
Quick question for
Yeah.
you. So, Reed last year graduated, and it was so exciting.
Yeah.
No more OT, no more speech.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it was a recommendation, and I accepted, signed.
Uh-huh.
We had his exit, but when parents don't feel it's appropriate, what happens when it's recommended, but then the parent is like, I don't think so.
It's really a conversation with the team, and most of those I do to get involved in, and just sort of learning a little bit about what the parent is, why the parent is, thinking that.
Sure.
We also really instill the fact that we use data to drive these decisions.
Yes.
It's not just like a feel or a gut or anything like that. We have to use data to drive. So sometimes that's helpful, sometimes not. Also, sometimes families will disagree with us and will request an independent education evaluation, which is called an IEE. And the IEE is basically they get to select any school psychologist out somewhere else to redo all of the assessments. That gets tricky because if you redo assessments within a year, they're really invalidated because you're not, as you know, as an OT, you don't use the same assessment over and over. We also have sometimes when this happens, families will meet with the provider and let them know what they're looking for, and then the provider will write it up in a way that will qualify the student or keep the student in special education.
The short
and-
answer is that it's always a team decision. So
Yeah.
we would never say we want to exit and force that on a family. It's always a
Yeah,
collaborative
sure.
decision.
Yes.
And most of the time, if the parents don't agree, we continue service.
Yes, absolutely. And if they don't sign, yes, it's a stay put, called a stay put, and we would just continue. And yes, absolutely team decision. And even if there is an IEE provided, we would take that and put that together with our information and then reconvene to see if the student should continue to get services.
That is so tricky
Yeah.
because the providers are like, well, they made all their goals, they have everything. So that's I could see that as a real challenge.
So
Yeah.
we can put that on the challenge slide for next time. Okay. So thank you for your questions.
Thank you.
Okay, so, and then from here, I mean, thinking about all of the amazing things happening and all of the challenges that we have, our department has drafted a 3-year strategic plan. I can't believe it goes to like 2029, that's like, and this is how it came about. It really was just all of the gathering of all of this information. My 10 months of being here, it reflects voices from everybody I've met with. We used our special education review to determine our priorities. We've done a lot of data analysis. I also did a survey for our special education and student services team to ask what their priorities were coming up. And then just lots of conversations with people. I've been taking copious notes as people are talking to me about what they need, and then this is sort of the culmination of all of it into a plan that we can work off of over the next 3 years. All right, so here's the 7 priorities that surfaced for the strategic plan were culture and equity. So we're talking about promoting disability awareness and inclusive language, which a lot of that is happening in our Neurodiversity Week, in our Special Education Advisory Committee, and then even in our AI or our EL curriculum, a lot of this work too. And then the least restrictive environment, which we keep talking about, meaning that we want to implement systems of ongoing progress of progress monitoring to make sure that the student is in the least restrictive environment. Staffing and capacity, that was a really big one that came out as a top priority for our staff around making sure that we improve recruitment and retention strategies for our staff. And then of course the other thing that came out of it was compensation too. And there's not much I can do about that in the strategic plan. However, that is a top priority as well, and we know this. Yeah.
But compensation is a really interesting one, and I think it cuts 2 ways. One is we're mandated to have these service providers or teachers in our schools, and if we can't hire because they can get a job for $5, $10, $15, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 more, they don't come. And then we're painted in a corner where we have to have a provider, but if we can't pay one of our own, we have to go get a consultant from an agency. And this is where everyone really critiques our budget around the services. This is not McKinsey coming in. This is an agency, instructional aide or teacher who we have to pay an agency to place a teacher in our district and pay a 20% premium. So the pay issue for special ed, our low salaries actually increase our special ed costs. So if we were able to have more competitive salaries, we could actually reduce our special education costs by not having agency hires and hiring our own and training them better and bringing them into our family, which is our ultimate goal. And I think this is one of those really nuanced things that I think from an outsider you can look at the budget and go like, red flashing lights, but the reality is it's very nuanced and complex, and I appreciate that the team is talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then priority 4, family and community, family and connection. That a lot of that came out of our Special Education Advisory Committee. Families feeling really like they needed, an extra support, as they enter special education and that kind of thing. And so it's about strengthening partnerships and trust with families. And then social emotional learning and wellness. We do need to adopt a social emotional curriculum, which is a state mandate, and so we're going to be piloting some curriculum, but it's around consistency or developing a comprehensive behavior support plan as well. And then the curriculum and instruction, we're looking to get consistency and alignment across the district on what we use for students with special needs, as well as linking it to our general education curriculum as well for access. And then finally, which is more on the student services and attendance. So looking at attendance, monitoring and improving student attendance and engagement, which then helps with our average daily attendance and budget.
Is the attendance with special ed higher or lower than our general population attendance?
Yeah, it's a little lower. Yeah, usually that's the case, but yes, it's slightly lower. But our attendance right now looks great. A lot of work has been done there. I think kids really like to be here and families love being here, and so that's super exciting. And of course, there's also some kids that, have been here, have missed half the days, and so we have to, another deep dive, we have to look in and see who those kiddos are to be able to support the families to make sure that they're getting their kids to school.
And 7 priorities is a lot. If you're going to spend 80% of your time on 1 or 2 of these things, what are the 2 things that are going to move the needle the most over the next 3 years?
Yes, I would say least restrictive environment, because that's gonna help us with our numbers and make sure that our staffing, and then the staffing piece too, because the staffing is so important, it's critical.
Sure.
And we need the people who are here to stay, and we need to recruit and retain new people to be able to do all of this hard work. I mean, it's a lot. So I would say those two areas.
Great.
And then I think everything else sort of falls in there. If we get those two things solid, I think everything else will just fall. Good
Sure.
question. Okay, all right, and then this is just a snapshot of the strategic plan. And so, and I know it's sort of small, but you can see like we have this is here we are again, least restrictive environment, and that's the one I picked. Priority 2, we have an objective under each one, and then we have an overarching goal. And then also, we also align these with our LCAP. So we wanted to make sure that everything was in alignment, because the LCAP should drive everything in our district. And so we did align with the LCAP. And then you see key actions, which are these specific details of what we're gonna do, the timeline when we're gonna do it, who's responsible, and then the evidence and outcomes. And so this actually is year 0, because Tyler and I talked about the fact that this isn't just going to be starting in July, it's started, it's begun. And there's been so much work this year done. So we did do a year 0 just to show that we weren't just waiting, stuff's happening. And so as things are happening in the evidence and outcomes, that's where these are hyperlinks, and not in this because it's a screenshot, but once you're able to dig into the plan, these are all hyperlinked, and so you can see these things that have been developed, or outcomes or reports or things like that. So this will be made available to everybody shortly.
So to your point, Daniel, this is one of 7 priorities, and you see multiple actions under each priority. And I think the feedback I'm hearing from you is like, how do you focus when you have potentially, 50 actions? And I think part of why Lori's been as effective as she's been is that she distributes leadership to her special ed teachers and the school psychs and SLPs, and really engages folks in taking some of this work on. This is an abnormal amount of work for a department of essentially 1, because Meredith is not really leading this part of the work, to do. And it's a testament to the amount of work that she puts on her plate and the efficiency of our district office staff by taking on this much stuff with, it's you and Meredith getting this done at the district level. So I think it is a real challenge to move this department forward in the way that I think Lori wants to move it, with just herself and the teachers out at site. So it's a Herculean effort.
And so with other districts with 280 students in special ed, what's that staffing model look like at other districts? 2, 3, 4 people doing this work?
Usually, what I've seen is there's usually a director, and then there's usually a program specialist under the director, which could also be a teacher on a special assignment, but somebody who's savvy in special education, could be a special education teacher, or somebody who has their admin credential, who's been in special education, who can so that's usually, not much more. I think most districts are running on a pretty tight ship. But that's usually what I see.
But maybe there's a need for that in the future. Specific.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I'm so impressed again with our staff, because they're ready for this and they want this. They're excited to get this. And so and then even somebody will have an idea of oh, we should, that SDC protocol there on year 0, develop, refine, and implement protocols, SDC protocol. Carly Shakwa, one of our school psychologists, she's like, I want to do that. We need this. This is going to be so helpful. So I said, do it, green light, go, and then bring it back to me. And so then she did, and then she brought it back to me. We vetted it with the whole team, and now this process is in place, and we haven't had any issues with whether or not a child should be on our SDC classes. Used to be that it used to be created tension, because a site might think, oh, they're singling us out and they're not picking us because of this or that. Now this protocol has saved all this time and all this tension, and when we say nope, student doesn't meet the criteria, okay, and everybody moves on, thinks it's something different. So that's a great example, I mean, of somebody just taking it and running with it, which is fantastic. So I want to keep that momentum going. Okay, all right, and then here's the strategic plan timeline, and this just outlines things. Some of the things that I do want to highlight are that we are going to do a biannual accountability review of the document. And so every December and like in the spring, like April, May, we'll get a team together and go through everything, see where we're at, make any adjustments and tweaks as necessary. And then next May, I'll be back here, giving you a report after year one. So.
Are you counting the December biannual accountability review as part of the QA process for stakeholder feedback? Is that where that would fit in?
QA?
Yeah, so basically you have a strategy to reach certain goals in terms of, let's just start with family and connection, let's just take that out. Yes. That data point, how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know you're fulfilling the data points that you have set out to do under that one, right?
Yes.
So that's stakeholder feedback and also other types of compliance that you have to abide by. So I was just wondering, how do you know?
Yeah, well, in the evidence and outcomes, we're going to be keeping track, and it's going to be through surveys, it's going to be through conversations, we're going to have focus groups and things like that. So when you get your hands on this, you'll see all of these different things that we're going to do.
Super.
And then, like for instance, monitoring MCOE and NPS placements in the outcomes is 3 students returned to the district from MCOE. Yeah. And that's our outcome. So so we will be tracking all that. And then what I envision is like having like a main sheet with all of the outcomes, so that it's like a sort of a quick reference to so that people can look at it on quickly without having to go through a 28-page document.
Yeah, because it sounds to me like some metrics will give you an opportunity to look at the success. The outcomes,
absolutely.
Right. So
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Okay.
Who will be on the review? You said
we're
team.
Gonna set that up.
It'll be like a combination of parents and staff.
I also think about this Special Education Advisory Committee would be a great group because we already have that established, and everybody's been a part of this throughout the whole thing. And then also we have a sampling of everybody. We've got county, we've got community, we've got parents, we've got admin. Just the whole. It's right there. So it could be great work for that committee. So.
Great.
All right. So I just want to express my gratitude for everybody for giving me the opportunity to do this work. Tyler empowers me every day to be able to do this, which that allows me to thrive and do my best. And I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank the board for being so supportive with everything that we've done and moving forward, and our union partners as well, because we've done some work there and there's more to come. So good stuff.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lori. This feels like a huge part of our heart in this district. Like we really, thank you for sharing so much.
Do you have any questions for Lori? Questions? Sorry, questions are no.
It's a
Questions. Shouldn't be comments, but yeah, no. It's okay. It's okay. No questions? All right. Do you have any public comment? No? Okay. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Carry on. No, that's it. That's all I have.
I just want to say thank you to Lori. This is a 180-degree turn from last year. In 10 months, got to know the district, built relationships with families, has changed systems and structures, has done better with progress monitoring. I mean, this is to have her come in and flip this is maybe the most complex department in our system, and for her to turn this thing 180 in, a flick of a wrist, it's pretty impressive.
And I will say, as a board member in my tenure, this is the most comprehensive insight into what you're doing in your job that allows at least me to really fully understand where you've got your hands and your focus. And if something should fall, we know, we're not surprised. We can say, yes, we saw that as a weakness, we saw that as a challenge. Let's get together and deal with it. And this is truly, it's just an eye-opening experience in a very positive way for me. This has been my thing, to see this, and I really appreciate the work you're doing, very much so.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Thank you.
I told you earlier, but I have been hearing in the community like very positive things about the changes that have been made in the special education department. So I just wanted to convey that publicly and say, hey,
Thank
that
you.
it's being recognized by other people, and
That's
it's
great.
enough that they're saying it to me so as well. So
That's great.
it makes me really happy. I'm glad that kids are getting the services they need and their families are comfortable and they're confident enough to tell me about that. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear it.
Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah. All right, that I will move us on since that was just information. Our next item is E2, recommended approval of bid award 252601 for the Brookside School pedestrian bridge replacement project to the lowest responsible bidder, Maggiore and Jalopy Inc. in the amount of $713,000. This is Chris.
It is me.
Okay.
This is only for the construction related items. It does not include the cost of the bridge. The bridge is being paid for directly by the district. So that will be an additional roughly $75,000 on top of this. And then we have other fees that still have to come into play here. We have to do things like a inspector of record, both at the site for the bridge installation as well as when they're manufacturing the bridge. And there's still additional architect fees as well and some geotechnical stuff. So in total, we do have enough within our Fund 40, which is part of the Deer Park funds, to pay for this. And so at this point, I would recommend that we move this forward.
Do we have any questions?
So, in the Deer Park funds, I know that each school was allocated a certain amount of money promised for certain projects. Was the amount of money promised to Brookside within the range that we still are, or we needing to pull those resources from other schools?
We didn't really assign it as a dollar amount. We kind of went through and looked at projects. And so we do have some additional projects that are out there. Last year we did like the work at, or actually it was this past summer, we did the work at Wade Thomas. We did work at Manor, and also some additional work over at Whitehill. And so this year we'll be doing this work at Brookside. And with the additional funds that are remaining when this is done, we have additional projects that we would be looking to do at Wade Thomas and Brookside as well, likely specifically in the area of the TKK playground areas.
Is this bid firm, or does it cover unforeseen costs?
What's the contingency on here?
We always build in a little bit. So it is firm, and the maximum amount you could go up would be 10%. But it's also possible that it could go down as well. As we look at it, working with the contractor, you could have negative change orders as well.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm asking one more question, then I'll shut up.
That's fine.
The $713,000, was there any discussion about, because I know Gelati has a foundation, okay? Was there any discussion to have this amount be more of a donation so that it could come down even further for educational purposes? Because they could deduct a lot of money by doing this cheaper, by offsetting that deduction to their foundation and getting a tax break.
That's some intel right there.
Was there any discussion with them about bidding this in that particular way? Are we able to? No, okay.
I mean, I'll let Chris answer that.
I will say that Gelati reached out to me as soon as the bids went out and were made public, that what the dollar amounts were, and said that he might be willing to look at the cost as well further. And so that might be what the angle that he's looking at. I don't know.
Yeah,
But we can't
you can't proactively do
like
that.
reach out and
Yeah.
kind of strike a deal. These
Yeah,
these are kind of a blind bid, and Chris gets a stack of them. And in this case, we got 2 of them, and one was quite a bit higher than this one.
Yeah.
And our obligation is to take the cheapest
lowest
one,
yeah.
and we can't interfere with that process by negotiating or giving inside information. It has to be like super above board. And Chris has run that process really cleanly.
Yeah, okay.
And then
Right,
the one
it's
thing
just-
we would do is take a look to see if there's a way to be able to drop the cost. We have to be really careful because you talk about value engineering where you might be able to save costs, and you can do that in projects. The only problem with it is it still needs to adhere to the DSA plans. And this isn't the
Yeah.
type of project that you would want to cut corners on.
Yeah,
So it's one of
not-
those
it's
that
not really cutting, it's not the cutting corners, it's the educational tax deduction.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering about, but,
And that could be a topic of discussion with them still.
yeah,
After the
After,
bid's been
yeah.
approved, right?
Yeah.
Or submitted.
The bid has been submitted and it was the low bidder.
When was the deliverable date? What's the delivery?
It's within the time frame, so it would be done before school starts. And we know that the bridge itself is the planned date to come in is right around the middle of July. So that is within the time frame that is in order to get the bridge in place.
Would
And
they start deconstructing the bridge before we receive the other bridge?
You would do that, yeah. More than likely. I can't speak necessarily to the timelines yet. One of the things that happens in terms of timelines, the board approves the bid this evening. Tomorrow we'll send out a notice of award and we'll request all of the documents that are required as part of the bid. I know Teresa has it all on her plate already, ready to go. And we give them a week to 10 days to get those documents to us. And then once that is done, then we schedule a meeting with them and start planning the actual timelines. I'm sure they've already started planning for it. One of the first questions he asked when he saw that they were the low bidder is, when is the date the bridge is coming in? So he's also thinking of that in terms of their process and timelines.
And then who would follow up with the bridge manufacturer, them or us, to make sure that mid-July is still the target? Because
It would be us because we're the ones ordering it, and we've already done that. So I know Tyler also was part of that process. So
there's a concern if the bridge is pushed back 2 weeks.
yeah, we had a long conversation with the bridge manufacturer in advance, and we tried to order it even before final approval of the DSA so that we could get into the timeline with their production queue. We weren't successful in doing that. They didn't want to start it until DSA. Once DSA came, the approval, we put in our PO and started that process, but we had already talked to them about our timeline. So what Tyler did, he reached out to them after not hearing back from them, and within a day or two of that email, they came back to us and said that they moved the manufacturing location from the Midwest into Denver, and they've been able to get in between some of their other projects, and so that the firm date is in that mid-July window. And so that's the delivery timeline to the site.
It's something Chris and I have been really
Losing sleep over.
thoughtful around in the delivery of that bridge. Either makes or breaks the whole project, and I appreciate Chris for being on top of it, and Teresa, and we got to CC Rachel on an email to try to use the board president weight behind it, and I think things, knock on wood, should work out. We're all prepped and ready for it, but it is something we're concerned about because a week or two pushback on this kids are on campus, and then it makes it a lot harder.
Do you have any more questions? Do you have any public comment? No? Okay, bring it back up here for any discussion.
I'll just go back to, because this is my Ernst & Young brain. So California, I just looked it up, is different. That the company can write off. You can write off work for a public school in California, right? By offsetting it. But it depends on whether it's a charitable donation or a standard business contract. And since this is a standard business contract, they would have to do things under the staffing to meet those. So they probably don't want to do all that work. So I just wanted to give you a heads up as you start to explore that.
I think more than likely he was looking at, lowering the costs through the normal change order
Yeah.
process. So
Yeah.
minor changes. I don't expect it to be significant.
Yeah, that's good.
But the one thing I did tell him is that everything that we do has to be approved through the architect because of DSA.
Yeah. I know for a fact, like, we have to do it within this window because the power's gonna be cut off, and gotta make sure there's not some, extinct sloth living under the bridge that we have to,
Yes.
take care of. And
Yeah.
so that time frame is so important. And I will say that the ubiquitous nature of this construction company, you see them everywhere, right? They do the work and they get it done. So is there any hesitation about their capacity to do this in time? Have they mentioned I've got a crew doing all my crews are out doing X, Y, and Z, we're gonna try and fit it in? Are they committed to that window of time that we have to do it?
They would be committed to it. That's part of the bid process. So we put in the timelines. It has to be done before school starts.
Great.
And so I will also say that Mr. Gelati mentioned that directly that he's a parent in the district.
Yeah.
So he recognizes the need
He
for
lives
it.
in the neighborhood.
He does.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
He does.
Okay,
He's a parent in the district.
okay,
And so very much recognizes the need as a community
right,
as well as a school.
okay, great, that's good to know.
And he wanted to make sure that we knew that.
All right. Good.
So-
And that had no bearing on which
No,
bid was picked.
no, this
It's
was- course not.
solely, I
Strictly
just wanted to
ours.
put that on record.
Yeah,
This
blind
is
bid.
super
Absolutely.
strict.
Lowest responsible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any more discussion? Any hesitations, questions? Yeah, no? Okay. I'll entertain a motion on this one, so we do have to vote on it.
I'll recommend approval of the bid award 252601 for the Brookside School Pedestrian Bridge Replacement Project to the lowest bidder, Maggiore e Gelati Incorporated, in the amount of $713,000.
Have a second.
I will second.
Thank you both. Chris,
Aye.
Anna,
Aye.
Daniel.
Aye.
Rachel, aye. All right, so we have somebody put in our bridge.
Thank you. I know it
did
hasn't
not
been
wanna do
easy.
that. All right, item number 3 is recommended approval of declaration of need for fully qualified educators for the 2025-26 school year.
So this is something we do every year, and it is a proactive measure that the state requires us to do to basically say, might you have a teacher who's out of class next year because it's a hard to staff position, and we submit this to the state like every other school district does, and we kind of project where we might have issues hiring or complexities, and we move from there. So sometimes this is accurate, sometimes it's not. It's a projection with a moving target, and we kind of over index, and then usually have fewer teachers than this that are out of class.
Does Julie get to sign this before she?
Yes.
I was like, is she gonna make you sign this because she's retiring?
Yeah. This is one of those paperwork things that just the
Defunct
state
everything.
asks us to do, and probably don't need to do it, but here we are.
Here we are.
I mean, is the basis of this basically that we're making sure we don't just put anybody into a classroom and say
Yes.
we're a teacher? Okay.
It ensures that we have a highly qualified teacher in every single classroom, which we've had that for as long as I've been here, and I'm sure much longer than that.
All right, do we have any more questions? No. Do we have any public comment? Nope. Okay, seeing none, any discussion on this one? Here? No? All right, this one we get to vote on, so would somebody like to make a motion on it?
I'll make a motion to approve a declaration of need for fully qualified educators for the 25-26 school year. No,
Is that a question?
26,
26-27. No, yeah,
Is it wrong? Okay.
it's wrong. Yeah, 26-27 school year.
Okay.
Yeah, on the actual document it says 26,
correct.
27.
Yeah, okay.
That's
All right, so with that
Statement.
with that amended statement there, okay. So I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, got the easy job there. All right, Anna,
Aye.
Daniel,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and Rachel, aye, okay. All right, next item is number 4, recommended approval of resolution 092526, certificated local assignment authorization.
Great, and this is actually the result of that last item we had. And we have a handful of teachers that are listed on that document that are teaching outside of their classification, and they have to go through a pretty rigorous process where they submit paperwork and evidence of their teaching practice to us to sign off and send to the state. So this could be, an example would be a multiple subject teacher teaching 6th grade who teaches history and language arts. And they technically wouldn't have a history credential or a language arts credential, they'd have a multiple subject credential, and we could go through this process to ensure that they're highly qualified. Another example would be a teacher who has a math credential, but they're also teaching science, and they don't have the science credential, so they go through this paperwork to show us that they're highly qualified and can teach that position. This is something that districts around the state do, and we do this every year, and it's really been these same teachers for quite some time now.
Okay, do we have any questions up here? I have no questions. Do we have public comment? No? No public comment. Okay. Any discussion up here?
We did this last year.
Yep.
We do this every year.
Learning something new.
Right, we have to vote on this one, so I'll entertain a motion on it.
I'll recommend approval of resolution 092526 certificated local assignment authorization for the teachers listed.
Do we have a second here?
I'll second.
Thank you, Chris.
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Daniel?
Aye.
And Rachel, aye. Alright, so we've that one passed. Next one here is E5, public disclosure, sunshining of the initial contract proposal for the 2026-27 school year from the Ross Valley Teachers Association, RVTA, to the Ross Valley School District.
Great, so this is another requirement by the state before a union and a school district starts their negotiation process. We have to basically show the public what we will be negotiating. Each side gets to pick 2 articles that they want to negotiate, and then typically wages and health and welfare benefits are always on there, and then one side gets to pick 2 other articles and the other side picks 2 articles. So this is RVTA's proposal for negotiating for the 26-27 contract year. We can get started on some of that conversation now. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to finalize any negotiations until we have more clarity around the budget. So this is a move to accept.
Okay, do we have any questions? No? Alright, public comment on this one? No? Okay. Back here for the discussion.
Not much discussion, right? This is great. They're giving us this information.
Yep.
Here's yours. Sunshine. Alright, we do have to make a motion on this one and vote.
So I'll recommend that we accept in sunshine RVTA's initial proposal for the district for the 26-27 contract negotiations.
I'll second that.
Alright, Daniel.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Anna.
Aye.
And Rachel, aye. Alright, so that one is It's been sunshine. The next one is E6, which is very similar and had me checking with Teresa, did I miss one? I was like, I think I got this twice, but I happened to just click on the file twice for the one on accident. This is E6, public disclosure or sunshining of the initial contract proposal for the 2026-27 school year, Ross Valley School District.
Great. So this is actually from us to the union. Historically, in the last few years, the union has usually been the sunshiner, and we just kind of negotiate with the union. There is some language that the district would like to change in the contract, and it's in these two articles that we want to chat about with the unions. So this is a move to approve our sunshine to the union.
Interesting.
All of the items at both district and
They're the same.
Yeah, they're the same
Yeah.
for our article. Okay.
Yeah, the items under the articles are different.
Okay.
The articles, we probably could have not done one to the union and just worked under theirs, but I did give them a little bit of heads up about some of the hours for employment and class size things that we wanted to talk about from our side.
So it just serves as like a heads up, if
Yep.
you will, that we
Yep.
would, if we're gonna bring
Yeah,
this.
we usually don't get into the details, and then that
Right.
kind of works it out in the negotiation process.
Any other questions about?
No.
Any public comment? No. Okay. Let's bring it back up here for any discussion.
Again, learning something new.
Yeah, I was like, I think this is the first time I've seen the district sunshine.
Yeah. I think I've done 3 CSEA negotiations and 2 RVTA negotiations since I've been here, and the district has not sunshined anything, but in talking with our principals, there's a handful of things in the contract. I'll share one publicly that teachers get a stipend for over class size, and teachers get a stipend if they teach a combination class, and one of those is a lot more work than the other, but the stipend amounts don't necessarily align to the amount of work. So we're gonna negotiate actually increasing one of them and talking about decreasing another.
Interesting. Alright.
Does this also include, like you had mentioned, like to pay additional for resource teachers who have more than the number on their caseload?
That would be the over class
That would be
size.
the, yeah.
Do we need to vote on this one? Or do we need to vote on this? Sorry.
Do we, I think approved, do we need to?
Yeah.
This
we
is
need to, yes, this
approval.
is a vote one. Sorry, I checked it off before. I usually don't check it until afterwards.
I'll make a motion to approve the public disclosure of the initial contract proposal for 26-27 school year, the Ross Valley School District.
Great. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you both. Anna?
Aye.
Daniel?
Right.
Chris?
Aye.
And Rachel, aye. Next item is F, consent actions. This is something where we can approve all in one motion unless somebody would like to pull something out for discussion or has a question about anything.
It's pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty straightforward, I agree. Okay. Do we have any public comment on this one? No? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion on consent actions.
I'll make a motion to approve all consent actions in F.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you both. Chris?
Aye.
Daniel?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
And Rachel, aye. Okay. Our next item is G, board business. I have item 1, community updates, reports from, and announcements by trustees. Get started.
We've got Golden Bell tomorrow. I think you all need to be there with those going. I think it starts at 4.
4:30.
4:30.
It's a Dominican, right?
It's at Dominican in Angelical Hall. The major award winner, is in our presence. So, the goat. Hopefully it's not as hot, so it won't be as uncomfortable in Angelical Hall 1. But that'll be a good time. And then I'm off to the Exploratorium on Friday with 3rd graders at Brookside. And the beach trip for White Hill 6th graders at the end of the school year. I guess we'll have another board meeting between now and then. Yeah, so, the 100 days of May is upon us. It is busy at all the schools, and so Golden Bell tomorrow should be a wonderful celebration for all. That's my big update.
Okay. I'll go. Brookside put on a great family dance. Well attended, lots of happy kids. Shout out to those parents that put that together. Another shout out to the Fairfax Fat Tail Flyers, which is the mountain biking group that is out of Whitehill that feeds into Archie. They had their final championship race at Six Sigma Winery this past weekend. It is an organizational thing to behold, but to see all of the Whitehill kids compete, one of our own, Joaquin, I'll just say his first name, finished fourth out of 140 kids.
Awesome.
He podiumed, and he is truly, if he wants to go pro, he could. He's being sponsored and sought out, so really shout out to those Whitehill kids that worked hard to do that.
Cool.
That's it. Oh, I'm going to Gold Country.
Oh, ooh.
Stay overnight.
I have a fan if you want a fan. I have a portable fan I can give you.
Thank you.
Because it's not cool this time of year
Okay.
in Gold Country.
Well, I will be in a cabin with a bunch of girls. And we're going to be
It's kind of like
singing
it's like an
songs.
outdoor tent.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Like,
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll call you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Let's see here. Been working on Measure H. Attended the Manor open house. That was quite fun. I love that school. Yeah, still getting to know teachers' first names instead of Mr., Miss so-and-so. But yeah, that was fun. The teachers, shout out to all of the staff and teachers there. You just see at these open houses how much work they put into before everybody shows up. That was really cool. Yes, board meeting. Fully funding. Woohoo! So that's good. They met their goals. I think that's public. I don't know. I got approval from the treasurer. I could say that at this meeting.
That's great.
So that's really good news.
It's great news.
Yes.
Good job.
And yeah, so that's great. That board works very hard. Oh my goodness. They're having some organizing, restructuring that I don't quite understand. They're still working on it, I think. But that's happening with the Yes Foundation. There's so many people on that board that put so many hours in. So I think they're trying to maybe figure out how to figure that out. But let's see, what else? My daughter's very stressed out with state testing. But they're almost done, so that's good. Went on a field trip to Windrush Farms with the second graders at Wade Thomas. That was, learned about farm animals, and all the kids got very muddy. It was great fun. Yeah, I think that's mostly it for me. Yeah.
Let's see. Daniel and I were both at the Brookside third graders presentation on water and pollution, which was very, very cool because they all had posters they did about it, like educational
They
posters.
did PSAs.
And then they had 30-second PSAs
Love it.
videos, so I got to watch several of those, which were really cute. Like they put together these videos telling people why it was important to protect our water resources, and it was very cool. So thank you to the teachers for inviting us for that. That was very cool. I went to the Whitehill Middle School 5th grade, 6th grade orchestra and choir concert, which is really fun because you see the 5th graders who only get like 1 hour a week on an instrument versus the 6th graders who get it like 5 days a week. And so just seeing them together, and it was really fun just to see what is possible. And I think it's a good way to like introduce kids into like the program in middle school as well and continue that music program. So I think it's great that they hold that concert the way they do. Also, it was probably the shortest music concert I've been to for the school since I've been here. It was like 25 minutes. John Baker and I were sitting next to each other. I was like, this might be the shortest one I've ever done, but it was great. They covered all the things.
And they did actually sang and perform together for the
Yes,
first time on
they
stage. So the
did,
chorus sang, the 5th grade, they all put some song that they were all able to do parts of.
Yeah.
And that was the first time they've ever done that, and it was exceptional.
Well, the concert is still going on right now.
Oh, there is
Right,
one.
yes.
I know. I'm sad I'm missing that one.
Yeah.
And in fact, before when they scheduled it, I got an email from Pete Santucci saying, "I'm so sorry that this is scheduled on this only night that it worked." I was like, oh. But I knew he has recordings, so if we wanted to, we could probably match that.
Where's the advanced?
There was also Manor Open House, and I ran into Anna there, and Tyler, and Julia. I saw lots of people at the Manor Open House, which you're right, there's a lot of effort that gets put into that by the teachers and the students, and it was just great just to see. And I'm definitely gonna have to go and visit their TK classroom because oh my gosh, those classrooms are so fun. And then on Saturday, the White Hill Middle School students jazz band and their choral ensemble performed at the Bonnier Shopping Center. They had a community fair, and so I showed up and got to like hang out and watch them. It was really fun. They were a very small group of kids, but they were there. Ms. Hahn was there supporting them, so it was just really nice to see them out in public and like being able to perform the stuff that they worked so hard on. So it was great. So that's all for me. So with that, I'll move us on to our next item, which is G2, which is approval of our regular meeting minutes for May 6, 2026.
Looks good.
Were you at that meeting, Chris?
No, I wasn't. No typos.
Alright. So do we have any questions, changes on these? Do we have any comments, questions, nothing? Do we have any public comment on this one? No? Okay. So I'll entertain a motion on the meeting minutes. Somebody would like to make one.
I recommend that we approve the regular meeting minutes for May 6, 2026.
Great. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Daniel?
Aye.
Hannah?
Aye.
Chris?
Abstain?
And Rachel? Aye. Okay. Our next item is H, which is Superintendent Cabinet Report. Updates.
Yeah, great. I was also at the Manor Open House and was just absolutely lovely. Spent a good deal of time in those TK classrooms. Unfortunately missed the 5th grade presentations where they do their like standing historical presentations, which are pretty amazing. Also worked with CSEA on a job description, a new job description for CSEA. We have 2 positions that are retiring in the district office, and we're not going to fill either of them, and we're going to fill a different one that's going to save us right around $70,000. So again, getting efficient at the district office, cutting at the district office before we cut at sites. I'm really happy to have a good conversation with CSEA on that, and we're excited about getting that job posted here in the next few weeks. I've also been spending some time working on a community engagement plan for next year for mission, vision, and values, and like getting a lot of community feedback about kind of redefining who we are as a district, which has kind of been fun to be in that space. Drove to Sacramento today with Sean Maher to celebrate Jorge and his amazing accomplishment as CSEA State Employee of the Year. There were 9 employees from across the state that were recognized: bus drivers, food service workers, obviously Jorge. Out of 140 people that were nominated, 9 were selected, and there are about 250,000 CSEA employees across the state, and we had one of the 9 that was recognized. So felt really proud to be there to celebrate Jorge. Got to meet his family, which was lovely. Got lots of pictures with our state superintendent, Tony Thurmond. told him to increase our funding.
Right.
And then Golden Bell tomorrow, which I'm really excited to celebrate our Golden Bell nominees.
All right. Well, I sort of let the cat out of the bag of everything we're doing. So all of that, and also, just a lot of work on the strategic plan. I want to thank Teresa for doing some formatting for me too. We're gonna tighten that up a little before we send it out. We're, as I mentioned, we're doing that Journify pilot, which the special ed teachers are really excited about and getting more and more excited about, potentially using to streamline some of our work. We have Autumn Arbery and Michelle Pelton at White Hill Middle School created a care closet, which is sort of like, it looks like a consignment shop, and they have clothing, toiletries, different items for kids like in need. And so I did put that in your update this week that if you're at White Hill, go pop over to their office because they would love to show it off to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Super proud of it. So I'm going to go
That's
over
great.
there in the next few days and check that out
That's
too.
great.
So it's beautiful. Yeah. We are planning for extended school year. We do have a small group of kids that will be attending our summer school program, who are some of our kids that in special education that might have regression over the summer, so we keep them in an extended school year. Sarah Hom is taking the lead on that this year as the admin, and she's fantastic. She's doing all the planning on that. We're going to have 2 classrooms, and it'll be held at Manor this year because usually it's at Brookside, but we have a bridge project going on, so and we don't have a zip line to get the kids across. I haven't asked about that yet, but anyway, so that's really exciting. Lots of transitions are going on right now from into TK, from 5th to 6th, I'm highly involved in a lot of these things, and then also to the high school too. So that's pretty exciting. I also have been serving on our special education local plan area for the county. I've been serving on the ad hoc committee this year. And it's been it's a sampling of people. There's 2 superintendents, 2 CBOs, 2 directors of student services, and we did a lot of work around some of the policies, countywide policies for special education, some extraordinary cost pools and different things. So it's been really fun for me to be part of that and learn about how all of the county level operates, which has been interesting. And then I also today I also attended the director meeting for the county, and as we talk about a lot of our struggles, everybody else is struggling too. It's sort of good to talk to other directors too. And I've built some relationships with people too, where I can reach out and ask questions, and we've done a lot of collaboration. And then finally tomorrow is the last of 4 meetings with the Inclusion Academy. So I've been working with the teachers on that. So we'll be meeting a full day tomorrow at MCOE for that final day, and then we're going to continue that work into next year, which is the implementation part. So we're really excited about that.
Thank you.
Mine is actually really limited this evening. We did have the governor release his budget last week, and we do have our school services workshop tomorrow where we'll find out a lot more about the in-depth information. But there is some good news that's coming out of it. For example, the governor has put some additional dollars towards special education. It's a significant increase in the special education funding. It's narrowed the gap. It's not nearly enough, but it is a major step in the right direction. So that's a real positive. And to our district, it's in excess of $500,000.
So our next item here is closed session. I1 is identify closed session topics. So I've got public employee performance evaluation, title superintendent pursuant to government code section 54957. That's the only item that we have in closed session. Do we have any public comment on this item? No. Okay. So I'm going to recess us to closed session at 8:12. All right, so it is 8:23 and I am reconvening us into open session. I'm gonna report out from closed session. We have nothing to report. There were no decisions made. So moving on to J, meeting review. We have item 1, which is future board topics and board board direction. Do we have any future board topics here or direction we would like to give to the cabinet or Tyler? No? Okay. So seeing none, I will move us on to J2, which is meeting debrief. Any comments?
Congratulations to all the retirees.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I miss them. Alright. So with that, I will move us to, we don't need to continue past 10:30. I'll move us to K, which is adjournment. So it is 8:24 and I will adjourn our meeting.
Alright.